A historic race to the White House comes to an end. A look at who clinched their seat in the Oval Office.
And we'll hear from political analysts of what we can expect moving forward.
And medical marijuana has passed. How election results will affect Washington County. Tonight on UATV. Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday night edition of UATV News. I'm Callie Barkwell.
And I'm Samantha Marks. Thanks for joining us. A historic night for America has finally come to an end.
Donald Trump shocked the nation with an upset over Hillary Clinton in the race for the White House. Here in Washington County, Trump received 50% of the votes while Clinton received 40%. While celebrating his historic victory, Trump set a different tone than he did while campaigning for his presidency. He says it's time to focus on peace rather than conflict.
I love this country. I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans.
Up next on Trump's agenda is a meeting with Obama at the White House.
Hillary Clinton took a more private route when conceding to Donald Trump last night. She did not confront the large crowd when announcing her loss until this morning.
Not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election. Our responsibility as citizens is to keep doing our part.
The two candidates spoke to their supporters today after a long night of waiting to hear the results.
So many of the events from this election were unexpected to people around the world. And we are joined with a political science student, Drew Smith, to talk about how everything unfolded. Thanks for joining us, Drew.
I'm glad to be here.
At around midnight, Trump reached 244 electoral votes and the numbers froze. This happened after hours of watching the numbers, and it was hard to stay awake for me. What about you guys?
Oh, it was an absolutely exhausting night. Drew, did you stay up all night?
I stayed up for the whole thing to see how Trump ended with a victory.
Where were you last night?
I was at my apartment, just me and myself.
Just all by yourself?
All by myself,
Oh,
myself
man.
and the polls.
Well,
what states did you wait for? Any in particular?
The Rust Belt. I waited up to see how Trump would pull out an unexpected victory in the Rust Belt.
For sure. Well, Americans were definitely shocked last night as they saw the electoral numbers rising on the Republican side. And because of the projection polls in the weeks leading up to the election, people expected to see the first female president when they woke up this morning. What do you think about that?
You know, national polls weren't that far off. Hillary was expected to win by about 3%, and she still won the popular vote by about 1 percentage point. It was the state polls that really let the people down, especially in the Rust Belt. A large number of people just felt left out the past 8 years, and Trump really attracted those voters. He won by a larger margin than even Ronald Reagan did with non-college educated whites. He overperformed with Hispanics, African Americans, and Asians, more so than Romney did in 2012.
Yeah, CNN said the media underestimated the rural voters within the entire country. So how do you think, or why do you think the media got these polls wrong?
Well, a lot of times the media outlets now, they're conglomerated, and there are less media outlets in rural areas than people in more rural areas don't get represented and don't interact very much now with the don't interact very much with actual media performers, and they have less time on the ground, and
Sure.
the media spends less time with the ground game.
Now, President Obama addressed the White House this morning, and he says we need to work towards a unified nation, and America must now root for its leader. But despite differences, he intends to have a peaceful transition of power. How does the peaceful transition of power exactly go?
Well, peaceful transition of power is one of the best things about this nation and its electoral history. A lot of nations don't have that, and we're very blessed. It'll be very interesting to see how Trump's meeting with Obama goes, and then it'll also be interesting to see who Trump appoints to his cabinet and who he holds in these high positions. Will he nominate people like Chris Christie, like Rudy Giuliani, like Mike Huckabee from Arkansas, who have been supporting him through this whole campaign? Or will he reach out to the Republican establishment and try to sew up some wounds and truly bring the country together and unite with the Republican Congress?
Now, I know Chris Christie has been there almost the entire way through. Do you think that he's going to appoint him to the cabinet?
I'm sure Chris Christie will be integral into Trump's administration. I have no idea if he'll be in the cabinet or not, but Chris Christie loves the law, and so he'll find some way in there.
Somewhere there.
Trump said he is going to try to take after the Bush administration. How do you think that's going to go over?
It's very possible that Trump could end up being just a normal Republican president. I know that seems hard to think about since it's been such an unpredictable race, but he could come in and the overreaction could slow down, die down, and he's going to be surrounded by a lot of very smart people, and so it could very well follow the Bush administration.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Drew. Will definitely be exciting to see what the next few weeks hold. We appreciate you being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
We now take a look around campus as we get reactions from students. For students supporting Trump, the feelings are joy and surprise. Students for Trump say it was a tough election, but they do believe Trump will lead the country in the right direction.
What were your thoughts about last night?
I think the election went really well. I think it was a big step forward for the Republican Party, but also for America. I think it's going to do a lot of things to help this country and get us going in the right direction.
So what do you think is going to happen next?
Now over to the Clinton side, the feeling here at campus is a lot like how it is across the country. Students for Clinton say the election results were very surprising, and with the country deeply divided, a Trump presidency is going to make coming together difficult.
It's like the Brexit situation. I feel like there's going to be a lot of discourse in our country, and it's going to be greatly divided, but hopefully we'll all be able to come together and find some sort of medium that both of us are happy with.
That's all I need.
Last night when Trump won, many people started to compare his victory in the United States to Brexit. We join UATV's Kristen Ballou, who's live with why this is happening. Kristen?
Last June, many people in Great Britain decided to let their voices be heard when they decided to leave the European Union. And many people feel like that's exactly what's happening here in the United States. Donald Trump won most of the electoral votes in the presidential election, and which ultimately made him win. And that contradicted what Hillary Clinton, the polls which said Hillary Clinton was going to win the election. Now, many media outlets around the nation are comparing this to Brexit, which was a shock value in Great Britain, and they believe that this election is giving a similar response to the United States. And one student from Great Britain says that the shock value is exactly why these two events need to be compared.
Because it's unexpected. No one expected it. Like everyone who I talked to about the whole Brexit thing, everyone laughs at it.
Also says that the majority of the voters who wanted the change in Great Britain were older, and he feels like that's exactly what happened here in the U.S. Reporting live on campus, I'm Kristen Ballou, UATV News.
Donald Trump will be inaugurated in January of next year.
Well, students study abroad weren't the only internationals paying attention to this election. In fact, people around the world watched to see who would be the next leader of the United States. Canadians may be expecting new residents as their immigration website crashed last night as results were announced. The value of the Mexican peso dropped to record lows after the announcement, as well as several stocks in markets around the world. And Russia closely watched the election with 24-hour news coverage of the poll results. And Russian leader Vladimir Putin said in a telegram that we are concerned with the deterioration of Russian-American relations, and we want to have friendly relations with the U.S., a great country and a leading economy. He says he hopes to resolve the current crisis in U.S.-Russian relations.
U.S. stocks welcomed President-elect Donald Trump by avoiding the crash many had feared. Overnight, there was a knee-jerk panic in global markets as the Dow plummeted nearly 900 points at one point. However, as the news of Donald Trump's win set in, the market returned to calm in time for Wednesday's opening bell.
Arkansas joined a handful of states on siding with medical marijuana. Find out how the state is preparing for Issue 6.
Razorback Athletics shocks the fans. What state representative wants to cut funding for the women's basketball team?
Tonight on UATV News, helmet safety isn't just a campus issue. What the bikers on Dixon Street have to say.
Because I want to protect the little brains that I do have.
A grandma found passed out in her truck. The charges she now faces.
And some students are still without a permanent home. An update on a local apartment's construction progress. UATV starts right now. Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday night edition of UATV News. I'm Callie Barquill.
And I'm Samantha Marks. Thank you for joining us.
Dixon Street is filled with motorcycles and leather, but you may notice that not everyone wears a helmet. That's because it's not required in Arkansas. UATV's Kristen Ballou is live with more on the story. Kristen?
Well, guys, I've been down here on Dixon for quite some time now, and even since I've been down here, I can tell that some bikers wear helmets, but most of them do not. I was able to catch up with two people earlier today who have opposing views on whether helmets are important. Rachel Murray comes to Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue every year.
See the bikes, see the people, just have a good time.
But when she rides, you won't see her helmet.
I figure if I have an accident, I'm going to get hurt. I've got kids who play football. I know what helmets are and what helmets do, and I don't think it's going to help me out that much.
She says helmets can make the ride more uncomfortable and they can make it hard to see.
When it's hot, it's too hot. When it's cold, they fog up and you can't see. It kind of gives you like this something in your peripheral, which to me makes it more dangerous.
According to Arkansas state law, if you are over 21, you don't have to wear a helmet. But eye protection is required for everyone. Police say last year in Fayetteville, there were 15 accidents involving motorcycles during Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. That's why biker Jack Tate always wears a helmet anytime he rides.
I've known people without them, they're not here no more, so that's part of the reason that I do.
He says it's important to wear a helmet, especially if you're going on a long ride.
If you hit the ground, your head's going to be one of the first things it hits, and with a helmet, it's going to bounce. If you don't have a helmet on, it's just going to tear everything off.
Now Tate says that if he's only going a block or two where he lives, he is not going to put on his helmet. But if he's going any farther than that, the helmet is going on his head. Live on Dixon, I'm Kristen Ballou. Back to you guys at the desk.
Different states have different laws regarding wearing a helmet. If you ride in Missouri, you have to wear a helmet at all times. But in Oklahoma and Kansas, you only have to wear one if you are under 18.
Well, speaking of, ASG President Connor Flock says they continue to work with the Department of Transit and Parking to raise helmet safety awareness. A focus group met on Sunday to brainstorm some ideas, and they discussed the possibility of a helmet safety day, similar to an event happening at the University of Florida. Another idea was implementing helmet safety training when purchasing a scooter parking pass from the university. Flock says they are still making progress on this issue.
Students have said that their reasons for not wearing helmets have a lot to do with appearance. They don't like showing up to class with sweaty heads and helmet hair. This is a common sentiment that even motorcyclists driving down the interstate feel. But one cyclist helps solve this problem in a stylish and functional way.
The guys, the gals put our hats on, they put the helmets over it, still has the bill, and then when they take their helmets off, their hair's not all a mess.
She calls them the 85-mile-an-hour hats, and they fit underneath a rider's helmet to keep them safe and looking good.
Well, with an increase of bikers in the area, some students might find it harder than usual to get to campus. UATV's Lance Lloyd joins us live on how traffic is being affected by Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue.
Yeah, guys, if you were anywhere on campus today, you could definitely tell that Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue had kicked off because you could hear and see bikers booming through streets just like this one here behind me that run up through campus. Now, all that extra traffic has caused some congestion on the roads, which is making it a little more difficult for students to get to class on time. Now, if you take a look at this map here on the screen, you can see that Dixon Street, Lafayette, West Avenue, those are the streets that are subject to closing during this rally. And also some bus routes are being affected, those specifically being routes 13 and 17. They will be having to take detours during the rally. I spoke with some students who have mixed feelings about these visitors on two wheels.
I would imagine if you get 100,000 motorcycles in a small town, it would create some traffic issues.
I feel like tomorrow's the biggest day, but I feel like there has been a lot more traffic because of it.
It's a one-time event and it'll be bypassed. Yeah.
And I also spoke with Fayetteville Police. They say that traffic will be peaking all the way up until Saturday, and that is when the rally will be concluded. After that, everything will be back to normal. Reporting live in Fayetteville, Lance Lloyd, UATV News.
For more information on traffic and bus routes, go to parking.uark.edu.
Road closings in Fayetteville don't only affect people living in town. Businesses on Dixon Street are impacted by the thousands of visitors riding in front of their stores. While some benefit from the influx of customers, stores like the Dixon Street Bookshop take a heavy hit. The owner says because of his bike traffic, his normal customers can't come to the shop.
They just can't get here at all during that week, unless they walk.
It keeps us employed every year. Every year we have a steady booking of clients that we have that stay here.
Restaurants and hotels around town benefit from the rally, and the employees of the Dixon Street Inn say they are gearing up for a busy weekend.
Well, more bikers are headed into Fayetteville this week.
Let's send it over to UATV's Selena Nelson, who is live in the studio with your Bikes Blues forecast. Selena, what can we expect?
Well, guys, this week it's all about the bikes. And guess what? Tonight, if you're planning on heading there, you're in luck because we are looking at 7 p.m. around 79 degrees. Now, it feels like 82, but that's really just the humidity taking into effect. Let the sun go down and it'll start cooling off. We have 75 and then 72 degrees by 9 p.m. And if you are going to Arlington this weekend, I have a look at your game day forecast. On Friday, you'll probably have pretty good weather. High 93 is going to be a little bit hotter than it is here in Fayetteville, but it'll get down to 75. Saturday, you're looking at about 92 degrees, but the low is at 75. But as the rain comes in on Sunday, the low is going to be 62. Now that's almost 10 degrees lower than the other low. So Texas will get a cool down, and Arkansas may get some rain on Sunday too. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Selena. A new bike trail is set to begin construction in October. Why is biking such a big part of NWA's local economy? Our own Andrew Epperson has more on this story.
Like many bike enthusiasts, Christopher Redfern enjoys the many trails that meander through northwest Arkansas.
I've been riding about 5 days a week for 3 years, and I still haven't ridden at all. There's still places that offer a new experience for me.
In the city of Fayetteville alone, there's about 40 miles of paved trails. That's about to increase by almost 3 miles with the addition of the Cato Springs Trail, which city contractors will begin construction on in October. The trail will connect from the popular Town Branch Trail near Mount Kessler. It'll go through a bridge, a tunnel, and it'll pass underneath I-49. Fayetteville Trails Coordinator Matt Mihalovich says the increase in trailage turns into an increase in the number of bike shops, which rakes in money for the local economy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put a real figure on it, but we've seen it in Fayetteville, certainly. We have 5 bike shops now, and those are dedicated bike shops, not even counting, like Walmart and the other Target and the others that provide bikes as well.
There's many reasons for Northwest Arkansas's booming biking community and the increasing number of trails.
This little kind of hidden gem, or as it has been for a while, I think is really about to be on the map, not just for people locally, but really coming from nationwide.
And city officials have a major goal for what they want to see within the next few years.
We have in our master plan a goal of by 20, I think it's 2030, to have a trail within a half a mile of every resident, every house in Fayetteville.
One thing's for sure, the bikers in Northwest Arkansas enjoy the increasing trailage.
The city is hiring private contractors to help with the task of creating the Cato Springs Trail.
Well, coming up next, a cosmic view of the weather, what a rainy day looks like from space.
And we've got a live look at Dixon Street. Your Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue forecast coming up after the break.